and guitar players don't have fucking karaoke, you know? That's the fucking end boss. Because it's like everybody thinks, okay, you're a singer, you're good at karaoke, you know?
Right.
And then it's like, oh no, I don't have everything that I need. It's not the routine, you know? I got so many memos with that.
Very, very cool, man. Well, I'm Adam. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, Sushi, nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you, Sushi. Well, this is a podcast about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about
Hmm.
the new Ghost Kid album.
Yeah,
Sweet.
perfect.
Yeah. So first off, born and raised. Did I see you're born and raised in Germany?
Yeah.
Okay. What part and what
And,
was that like?
it's like I'm from the western part, you know, so my city is called Gelsenkirchen.
Okay.
It's like yeah, it's probably one of the most shittiest cities in Germany, but it's not as bad as people are telling you. You know, but yeah,
Yeah, we love to exaggerate things here in the U.S.
I mean, it's not only the US, even in it's like if you look trash TV, you know, and they wanted to pick or tell a story from a really shitty city, they always pick Gelsenkirchen, you
Oh,
know.
is that right?
Yeah, but if you grow up there, it's a different thing, I would say. You know, you get
Sure.
used to the trash, I think.
Very cool. Well, what about do you come from a musical family or like a creative household at all?
Um, kind of like, I mean, my parents used to sing in a church choir, you know,
Oh,
and my
cool.
dad used to play like, I don't know, the saxophone, how do you call it? Like a pipe? No, not the pipe, the flute, you
Oh, the
know.
flute. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, but everything like related pretty classical music wise, like, you know, and yeah, it's crazy. If you just see the music that I'm doing right now, it's like, okay, good.
Sure.
It's
Quite a
like the
bit
biggest
different than classical.
contrast ever. Yeah. But like my parents haven't been like haven't been like a massive influence. You know, it's more like, okay, I picked up the guitar, so my mom was playing just a little bit acoustic guitar, but that's it, you know. And like when it comes down to singing, I just started by myself. It was never that my parents kind of like gave me access to that or whatever. Um, but we are definitely kind of like a creative household, you know. So I learned a lot of things from my dad when it comes down to crafting and whatever. So my mom, she used to work with how do you call those people that are working with flowers? What is
Like
the
a
right word for
florist?
that?
Like a
Florist? Is it
florist?
florist?
Yeah, yeah.
That was too simple, but okay.
I
No, but
believe
she
that's
used to
it.
work.
Maybe there's a way more intense if you are doing something way
Yeah.
more than maybe just flowers. I don't know, dude.
Okay. No,
We'll
but
go
a
with
florist is
florist.
right. Yeah. Okay. No, florist sounds good to me. So
Okay.
probably, yeah. No, she was a florist, and yeah. So there, I was surrounded by a lot of creativity all the time.
Sure. Did she
Yeah.
do like flowers for like weddings and stuff like that?
No, she used to work in a shop
Oh, okay.
most of the time. Yeah.
Very cool. Would you watch your dad like would your dad play saxophone and flute at the house and stuff, or was it something he was actively still doing, or was that
Mm,
before you were
so
born?
sometimes he played in the church or just
Mm,
for himself back at home. But like I said, you know, I never really got the connection to it. I mean, when I was younger and we had to play like the flute in school,
hmm.
you know, I kind of liked it, but when they told me, okay, you need to learn some notes and all that shit, you know, I fucking hated to play by the rules, you know. So they told
Sure.
me, okay, you need to learn notes, and said, well, fuck that shit. I wanted to play it on my own. And so like this creative freedom, like when it comes down to music, that was, I don't know, I guess I started doing music when I was 15, you know, but first of all, I got in touch with music like when it comes down to playing flute or whatever, it was 7, and then I just dismissed it and just came back to music in general like when I was 15 years old. So kind of
Okay.
kind of late.
So at 15, is that's when you picked up or got the guitar?
Yeah, I would say it was 15.
Okay.
Something, it
Was
was
it
like when
something?
the whole hmm?
Go ahead. Sorry, I'd cut you off.
No, it was, I guess it was like when this whole new metal era started, you know, like I was a huge Korn fan and Slipknot and whatever, Deftones.
Hmm.
So that was actually the time when I started playing guitar and I've realized, okay, good, I can create my own shit. What is great.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess it
Okay.
was
And
15.
yeah. So then you get a guitar. Was
Mm.
it something that you like went out and bought at the store? Did you get it for a birthday, a holiday of sorts? And then were you just drawn to guitar because of the music you were listening to? You're like, oh wow, I want to make something cool like this.
That as well, but the story why I started doing music is a bit, it was a bit more different, because actually I started playing guitar because I wanted to do something I'm good at. You know, I was always looking for my thing and I wanted to be better than everybody else. So that's the reason why I started playing guitar. And I achieved that goal like pretty fast. But in this whole process, I've realized, okay, it's kind of like freedom, because you can create something on your own. So when I picked up the guitar, I've realized, okay, I started writing tracks on my own, like even if I couldn't play like just three chords or something, you know. So it's kind of funny.
Okay. And so were you
But
like
that was
in
my
this
first intention.
to write? And then did you start a band, or were you just doing this all on your own, kind of solo thing?
Um, I mean, I'm originally a guitar player, so, and with that, I started my first band like with some friends from school, you know, like with my longtime friends, like my best friend back in the days. So because I mean, we kind of like he started to play the drums, I started playing guitar, so we said, hey, let's do a band. So
Hmm.
this is how everything started, and of course it had nothing to do like with real music. It was more like, okay, I want to play guitar, I want to be a singer, let's do a band, you know. It was not that we really could. We haven't, I mean, we have been shitty, you know. Let's say it like that, you know.
Well, every
No,
first
but
band,
this
right? I mean, you're not going to start
that's
and just
true,
write a
yeah.
hit, or maybe someone has, but it's like
Mm,
9 out of 10 times or more, I would imagine. It's
yeah,
let's just start playing and learn how to play together.
yeah, true. No, but this is where everything started, you know.
Okay. And then you
Yeah.
continued bands. I don't know if you mind speaking to the band you were in prior, or we could skip it all together. I just know it's part of your story. I don't want to
Mm.
get too entailed in it, but it was just, was that a band that you had started or joined later down the line?
Uh, what you mean, like the whole process in general? If I
Yeah, yeah. Well,
or
well, just with Eskimo Callboy,
oh
was
yeah,
that a band that you had formed, or was it a band that you joined? Because I believe you played guitar, right, in the beginning for that band.
no.
Oh,
I joined as a singer. So I had a band before Eskimo Callboy back in the days. It was like I was playing guitar and doing background vocals, you know.
okay, that's what it
So
was.
because we had a lot of changes, like when it comes down to singers, and at some point I said, okay, good, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm just playing guitar and sing, and
Hmm.
singing was so much fun because I don't know, it was like this. How can I say that? It was free, it was easy. You don't have to tune a fucking guitar. You can just go right in through
Yeah.
into it, you know. And that was a lot of fun. And I wanted to play in a band, and there was like this band from Castro Brauxel. They've been looking for a singer, and I said, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. But it was not Eskimo Callboy in the beginning. It was what was the name again? It was like Her Smiling Grief. And there have
Hmm.
been another singer. He was just screaming, but he left short time after I joined the band, you know, and I could basically do both, like singing and screaming. So we continued with that, you know, and this was like where Eskimo Callboy started. So,
Oh.
and then I stopped playing guitar for a really long time because my goal in music was always like, okay, I wanted to do it like on a professional level.
Hmm.
So, and we've been started playing some small gigs in our hometown and whatever. So it kind of became real. So, and I sold all my guitars. Shame on me. I have beautiful fucking guitars, but yeah, goal succeeded somehow, you know. And yeah, that was actually the point where I became a singer, even if I am basically a guitar player, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. I was reading an interview with you from, I don't know, maybe a handful of years ago,
Mm,
and you were talking about how when you play guitar, you miss singing, but when you're singing, you kind of miss playing guitar. Like it's like
yeah, yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah, but that came later. I mean, like being a singer in a band is the best and the fucking worst job you could do, because a guitar plays all the time, but a voice, you know, it's I don't know, it's attached to so many things, you know. If you have a shitty day, you sing shitty, you know.
Mhm.
If you're depressed, you sing shitty. If the air is too dry, you sing shitty. You know, I always used to say, singers from the United States are always better because they grew up with ACs, you know, which is like the
Yeah,
biggest
AC
enemy
pumping in there.
for real. You know, because it's. I mean, if you're on tour and you're in one of those nightliner buses, you know, it's like the air condition is always like running. You know,
Mhm.
and it dries out your throat, and everybody from the United States is fine. I haven't seen like a single singer from the United States who lost the voice. but me all the
Oh,
time, you know.
yeah. I was gonna say, I'm sure that happens.
Yeah, that's the reason why I hate singing. Kind
Well,
of, you
well,
know.
you're right. I mean, you have to run the show. If you're the front man, you got to go
Yeah,
out there. Not only do you have to sing well and bring it, but you have to
yeah,
kind of orchestrate the entire performance. And if you
that's
can't, if
true.
you're not hitting the notes and it sounds, and you're not singing, then everyone's like, "Oh, that band, blah blah blah. They were awful."
Yeah,
But or it's like
yeah,
that
you
you're the
you
voice of the band too, which it'd be is a cool, very cool, positive thing. Where it's like if
yeah.
somebody hears Ghost Kid, they're like, "Oh, that's Sushi. I love his voice is so dope. That's why I love this band."
Yeah, but I would never consider myself a good singer, you know. I just do what I do. And but you know, this is something you have to deal with it as well, because you said, yeah, you have to run the show, you know, and people will give you constantly hell, like if you just sing shitty. But sometimes, you know, you could be the best singer. For example, if your in-ear monitoring sound sucks, you're not able to hit the notes. You
Mhm.
know, that's reality. You could be like the best singer and you can play a shitty show. And it's like being a singer means like you're super vulnerable. And I don't know, there's a
No.
lot of pressure on you if you have to sing, you know, and then your voice is fucked up and you slept bad or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
You it's yeah, it's
I
it's
would
it's hard.
No, 100%. I find the voice
Mm,
fascinating too in the sense that like it is vulnerable. You just brought up that it's
mm.
vulnerable because if you were to go if you can't sing and then and you sing in front of your friends or sing in front of people and you're just totally off, right? It's just awful. Like
Yeah,
it's almost like a personal like ouch, like my voice, like what comes out of my
yes.
mouth daily sucks. Whereas if anyone could just pick the guitar up and just start like noodling around, if it sounds like shit, it's like, oh, whatever, like ha 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 ha, I'm bad at
Yeah,
this. But it's like the voice is like such a personal like dagger, like ugh.
yeah. And guitar players don't have fucking karaoke, you know? That's the fucking end boss. Because it's like everybody thinks, okay, you're a singer, you're good at karaoke, you know?
Right.
And then it's like, oh no, I don't have everything that I need. It's not the routine, you know? I got so many memos with that. But
Oh
yeah,
man,
I
that's
do it anyway
hilarious.
when I'm drunk. It's like,
Yeah, well, you're very talented at what you do, and you obviously had a ton of success. So you end up, what you I think you played with those guys for a decade, right, or more.
10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then you end up leaving the band, and was that
Yes.
due to? I mean, I don't want you to get into unless you feel
Mm.
comfortable, but I'm just wondering, like,
Oh, no,
you
it's fine.
you leave, yeah. So then you leave the band, and is that when you start Ghost Kid, or like was it just like you needed to do something else?
Um, I mean, to be honest, you know, like of course, officially, it's always like, yeah, creative differences and whatever, you know. But to be honest, of course, there was some trouble going on, you know,
Mhm.
and I'm not like scared to say that, you know. It's like if you're in a band, it's kind of like you have a relationship with five guys, you know. Of course, it's a
100%.
lot of trouble, and that kind of like I don't know, just went into a direction I couldn't identify with the music anymore. You know, it felt like a job. So,
Mhm.
and I wanted to have something pure. I wanted to feel something by playing music and writing music. So, and I wanted to create something that where I can get like this feeling back. So I started writing Ghost Kids as a side project in the first place. And then I've realized, okay, shit, that really means a lot for you, because I just picked up the track I wrote for another band. You know, that was you and and I started rewriting that track. I don't know, laid some vocals down, and I said, "Damn, that shit really means a lot." It's like this feeling I had like long time ago. The reason why I started doing music, and I said, "Yeah, but I can't do both like with 100%." And I decided like, okay, I want to have this old feeling back. You know, and that was a hard step because I mean, of course, you know, you build up this whole thing like over 10 years, you know, and it was my job, so we've been earning good money back in the days, and yeah, it was like, okay, fuck everything, you know. I don't know.
Yeah. You have to start from
um
scratch, right? I mean, you had this
yeah,
band that had success and
yeah.
people knew who they were. You knew the band, and now it's like, okay,
Exactly.
well, I'm gonna start this other thing
Mm.
and
I mean,
I'm back to zero essentially.
yeah, I mean, kind of like, of course there are some people. So I mean, and you think about, okay, yeah, maybe a lot of the people will come with me, but that was not the case. It was
Mhm.
like really, like you said, it was not for real point zero, but you definitely had to start like it was not the same thing again. And then there was COVID, which made things a lot worse, because when you drop the first debut album, of course you want to be on tour, and that was not possible, you know.
Yeah.
And the second like biggest challenge ever, and I'm still learning a lot, is like, if you have a solo project and you're responsible for a lot of things, you know, being a boss is the fucking hardest thing that I completely underestimated, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, because you got to
Yeah,
hire everyone else. If you're doing everything as far as like the recording and writing and all of that process of it,
yeah,
it's like, okay, well, now how am I going to play a show? If it's just me, I got to get some people to join. And then it's like, okay,
yeah,
and I got to teach them all the parts. And yeah, you're essentially managing not only yourself writing the songs, but you have to kind of get everyone else
yeah.
together and keep that, thing going as
It's
well.
really hard, yeah. And you
I
have to
can
get along
imagine.
with everybody, you know. And I'm usually one of those guys who is too nice, you know.
Mm,
And
yeah.
it could work out in some way, but it didn't, you know. So, and now it's like, okay, you really have to think about how to behave, you know, when you have to defend yourself and when not, and when you have to listen and whatever. But you have the responsibility in the end. And this is the fucking hardest part of this whole thing, you know.
Mhm.
And like being creative, writing tracks. Then there's COVID. Of course, you don't have the money and so on. You know, it's like I mean, this is still my main job, but it's definitely, I don't know, it's definitely not the easiest job to do, for real.
No, 100%. With that first album, so you released a self-titled album in 2020. Was it you? I would imagine you wrote it prior to the pandemic.
Um, no, I didn't start writing. I didn't start writing right after I dropped the record. It was more like, okay, I can't even tell when I started writing the new record.
The prior one, the self-titled, the first one that you released, was that all done prior to the pandemic?
Um, you mean if I wrote the first record, like,
Yeah, yeah, like with Fool and You and I and all those songs, that was
oh,
before the pandemic had started.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then we dropped the debut album, and after that, yeah, the pandemic started, and then there was like almost 2 years no shows, you know, which is a fucking bummer, because of course
Yeah.
you write a record to play it live. And that's the reason why I would say the second record took so long, because you kind of lose the connection like to your own music. You can't play it live. And
Mhm.
I don't know, you know, maybe that's the reason why it took so long to write Hollywood Suicide.
Hmm. And did you write the first album? Were you in? Because I know you wrote Hollywood Suicide in LA, right? Didn't you come to LA to do it?
Oh no, no, no.
Oh,
LA was basically like a huge inspiration, like to discover myself a lot more as an artist.
okay.
But the only track I've been writing there was Helena Drive, and that was just a chorus with two guys called Dylan and Knox. So we've been sitting down and just did some music, you know. Um, but no, the rest of the tracks I wrote it on my own, like back at home, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
And was it inspired or anything by the trip to LA? Or
Yeah, that's for
okay.
sure. Because I think, like in LA, people live art differently. You know, it's more connected to you as a persona or your character.
Hmm.
I always used to say, like in Germany, it's like everybody tried to, I don't know, stay in their comfort zone. You know, nobody, um, how can I say that? Is like try to discover a lot more, just step outside of the comfort zone. And there is like in LA, um, if you're an artist, that means something, you know, it's part of your identity. And I
Hmm.
think that's the biggest difference. So I started to understand a lot about myself. Okay, good, I can do that stuff, if just dare to try something new.
Hmm.
And I think this is what I've learned there, because they celebrate it differently as well. Yeah, I think
Okay.
that was like the biggest impact at this
Yeah.
point.
So so you went there and then what, you returned home, and is that when you begin writing the album, or did you already have kind of bits and pieces of it together and then you got back and finalized it? Like, where does, this
um
album kind
you
of start?
That's hard to tell.
Okay.
I mean, I guess there have been a few tracks that before I went to LA, but I'm not sure about that. It's like,
Hmm.
um I think the main album writing process started after I went back, you know.
Okay.
And yeah, I think this is where I started writing actually like everything. Now I guess damn. No, I mean the first track before, no, Ugly was definitely a track that we've been writing. I mean, together with my producer. That was actually the first track from this record, you know. And then there was like Helena Drive, I would say, and after that, I just wrote the rest of the tracks.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the first one after LA was definitely Heavy Rain. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was that. Yeah.
Oh. And yeah, I mean, you've released just a couple songs from the record, right? Or three
Hmm.
songs. You've released just a few of the songs, right? Hollywood
Yeah.
Suicide, Heaven Rain, or Heavy Rain, and then the new one, FSU.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so talk to me about that. I mean, obviously, did you want to put out Hollywood Suicide? It's the title track, it's the first record track on the
Yes.
album. Kind of like, okay, here it is. I've got a new album coming.
Hmm. Yeah. For Hollywood Suicide, it was more like I mean, the message sums it up pretty well, because Hollywood Suicide is it's basically just how can I say that? It's like if you're an artist, you know, and you live for the dream, this is basically what I call Hollywood suicide, because Hollywood is like symbolizes like that's for me like the symbol for being an artist, you know. You come to the city, you try to make it, you know, and you give everything. Because if you're an artist, I don't know, there are no holidays, there is no Christmas, whatever. You have to work like 24/7, and you just go far beyond your limits, you know, to just, I don't know, it's crazy. I mean, you write over half a year an album just to play 45 minutes, you know. So
Yeah.
it's just insane. And this is, I mean, this is kind of like suicide, you know. That's the reason why I called the album Hollywood Suicide. And the track is exactly about that feeling, you know. You try to give everything that you have just to make it, you know, with the stuff that you love,
Hmm.
but there are no limits. If it would be like a regular job, you can't pay enough to do that. You know, you really have to love what you're doing.
Right. I mean, there's obviously no guarantees with it. You could work your whole, you could have spent 5 years on the album and but done exactly what
Yeah,
you hoped it to sound like and do, and then no, it still might not work out, right? I mean, it's just
yeah, true.
it's a big gamble. I mean, I guess that is with any job, but there's really no, it's hard to have a plan B, I think, if it comes to like being in the music industry or being in a
Yeah,
band. If you want a plan B, then you can't really be like, well, I'll just fall back on joining this band that's already successful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not,
mm,
it's, you got to grind and grind and grind and hope and just
that's
hope and
true.
hope and hope something's going to happen for you.
And it's super hard. I mean, it's like nowadays it's more competitive than ever, because you got Spotify, you got, I don't know, the whole world in your fucking hands, in your pocket with your mobile phone. You know, everybody is watching you, and there are so many great bands out there, and it's pretty hard like to keep the focus, you know, on
Hmm.
what you want to tell. Like, I don't know, like if you want to tell your own story, it's like you get distracted the whole time by good bands, you know, by social
Right.
media by itself. It's super hard. And sometimes you just, I don't know, you're laying in bed, you're just awake and just think about, is this really the right thing? Is the track good enough? And whatever, you know, it's sometimes it's hard like to really, I don't know, keep some focus on the stuff that you
Yeah.
love. Yeah,
Right. I could see how that would be very difficult, obviously. And you're, like you
it
said, you're
is.
just flipping through social media and you're getting these short clips. You're like, oh, this is a
Yeah,
great band. And then you might be overthinking your own stuff, but that has nothing to do with what other people are doing. But it's hard
that's
to
true.
not compare yourself, or, it's just,
Yeah,
it's a very, it's a difficult time because you said it's oversaturated with so many people and so many people have access to
yes,
everything. And I can imagine that being,
absolutely.
yeah, very difficult. And you gotta run like 10 jobs now, especially as a s as a main solo guy, right? It's like, okay, now I gotta do the social media thing. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I
Oh
gotta
yeah,
get the
yeah,
band.
yeah.
Like it's gotta be so overwhelming. Like I don't even see how people have time to even, I can't even keep up with the social media on my own thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing the interview and it's like, okay, I gotta do this. And it's like, oh my gosh, like
That's true.
that the
That's
hours in the
true.
day just go by like that. And you're like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, it's a wild, a wild world right now, man.
yeah. And you, I mean, all the time, it's like you start to overthink, you know, am I doing not enough, you know? And people are just telling you, yeah, your social media is shitty. You need to do more and more and more and whatever, you know. Then there's TikTok. You need to take care of Twitter. What about YouTube and whatever? Like you said, it's like 10. I mean, now you got 10 jobs to do it, you know, and I don't know, it's hard sometimes, but I still love it, you know. That's the reason why I'm
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the album's coming out next month, like in a month from today, right? 22nd of
Yeah.
March. That's
Yeah.
exciting. That's really exciting. Then you put out FSU was I saw that it was inspired by like the Joker of Batman, which I love.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's about like this, I don't know, um, like being an outsider, being not like somebody who will fit in fit the mold, you know.
Mhm.
And it's like this, how can I say that? The self-destructive, chaotic way of art, I would say,
Mhm.
you know, that you celebrate that. And I don't know, like this way, it's like being an outsider. That's basically the story behind that, you know, being different, but with some kind of consciousness, you know, and like self-confidence.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that describes it the best way. And like the best example for that is the Joker, you know, because
Yeah.
he is just, he doesn't give a fuck about money and whatever. He just wants to have the chaos, which is like a pure intention when it comes down to passion, you know.
Yeah. 100%. And then the tour
Yeah.
kicks off in April.
Yes.
Your Black Veil Brides. That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
Creeper.
That's sick. It's like I've been waiting for a chance like that, I don't know, for almost 3 years now, you know. So now we got the chance, which is great.
That's awesome. And you're
Yeah.
playing here. I'm in Nashville now. I'm originally from San
Ah,
Diego,
great.
but you're coming here.
Mhm.
Marathon Music Works is a great venue. Be here in May, so
Perfect.
I'll have to come out and check you all out.
Yeah, do it. Then we can say hello in person.
Yeah, no, I'd love that. Well, Sushi, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for
Thanks for
doing
having me.
this. I have one more question. I want to know if you
Yeah.
have any advice for aspiring artists.
Any advice for aspiring artists? Don't be afraid, like to push your limits, you know. So there's so much more to discover. Don't listen to just one genre, and just listen to yourself closely, you know. If you feel something and you got something like strong emotions and whatever, try to turn it into something meaningful, you know, because this is what how I do it all the time. So music is always my relief, and if you can turn something into art that's personal, I would say, like, to sum it up pretty quick, just be confident with yourself, you know. Don't be afraid, like, to step outside of the comfort zone, and it's gonna be great.
Bringing it backward.